In my previous life, the two-faced brothers stole my confession and even became my girlfriend's close male friends, making my life miserable. Reborn at the moment of confessing, he pulled the same trick again. I smiled and shoved him straight toward the school beauty. Bro, if you like her, go for it. I've got your back. Roles reversed. Now it's my turn to be the close male friend. Ha ha. Ethan, do you have something you want to tell me? Under the wutong tree outside the library, Sophia, wearing a white dress, looked as beautiful as a painting. She bowed her head, fingers nervously twisting the hem of her dress. The afterglow of the sunset fell on her slightly flushed cheeks, and her long lashes trembled gently. I looked at her, my heart uncontrollably pounding. It was exactly this scene, identical in every way. In my previous life, I mustered up all the courage I had from 3 years of college, asked her to meet me here, and was ready to give my first ever confession. But just 1 second before I opened my mouth, a figure rushed out from beside us. Sophia, I like you. I've liked you for a long time. It was Lucas Wright, my best friend. He was panting, his face flushed, and he clutched a bouquet of roses that had been crushed and misshapen in the crowd. At that moment, I felt struck by lightning. I was completely stunned. Sophia was also so shocked by the sudden turn of events that she was at a loss. What followed was melodramatic. Sophia rejected Lucas and chose me. But in her heart, she always felt a twinge of guilt toward Lucas, believing it was because of him that she couldn't find happiness. So, Lucas naturally became her male best friend. That identity became the nightmare of my life. He would, during our dates, call Sophia away with one phone call, claiming he was in a bad mood and needed company. When Sophia prepared birthday gifts for me, he would helpfully offer suggestions, and in the end the gift would completely miss all my preferences. He would even text Sophia in the middle of the night. Sophia, are you asleep? I had a nightmare. I'm so scared. And whenever I complained, Sophia would look at me with those innocent big eyes. Ethan, don't be so petty. Lucas is just my best friend. He treats you like a brother. How could you think that about him? I felt like a clown, driven nearly to collapse by their so-called pure friendship. Until finally, we had a huge fight over Lucas's accidental car crash. Sophia cried that she was so disappointed in me, then braved the storm to spend the night at the hospital caring for him. And I, on the way chasing after them, was knocked flying by an out-of-control truck. In the last moment before my consciousness faded, I seemed to see Lucas's smug smile at the hospital entrance. Ethan, Sophia's voice pulled me back from the bone-chilling memory. I took a deep breath, suppressing the churning hatred in my chest. I'm back. I'm really back. Back at the moment when all the tragedy began. I looked at Sophia's expectant yet shy eyes, then glanced from the corner of my eye at the big tree beside us, and at the figure behind it who could no longer hold back and was ready to burst out. Laughed. I actually laughed out loud, just as Lucas, like in the previous life, suddenly burst out from behind the tree, preparing to shout before I could. I moved. I didn't confess. Instead, I turned, grabbed Lucas's arm, and with all my strength shoved him hard towards Sophia. Bang! Caught completely off guard, Lucas crashed straight into Sophia's arms. Both of them let out an exclamation at the same time. Sophia was knocked back 2 steps, her cheeks instantly flushing so red they looked like they might bleed. Lucas was completely stunned. He still held the crumpled bouquet of roses in his hand, his mind blank, utterly baffled as to why the script had turned out this way. The whole place fell deathly silent. I clapped my hands, wearing my most sincere smile, breaking the awkwardness. Brother, if you like her, then go for it. I stepped forward and gave Lucas a heavy pat on the shoulder, my voice booming. Look at you, such a coward, dawdling for so long. I've known for ages that you've had a crush on our Sophia. I turned to the stunned Sophia, my smile even brighter. Sophia, look at my buddy here. He's so nervous about confessing to you. The two of you are a perfect match, made for each other. Lucas's mouth opened and closed and opened again, unable to form a single word. He felt like his brain had turned into mush. Ethan, Wasn't he supposed to confess? Why would he help me? Sophia was stunned too. She glanced at the stiff Lucas in her arms, then at me with a face that said say yes, and whispered, Ethan, you're not. Me? I laughed and waved my hand. I'm just a wingman. I create opportunities for my bro. Aren't the three of us best friends? My brother's happiness is my happiness. I winked at Lucas. What are you waiting for? Flowers? Lines? Hurry up. Lucas, prompted by me, snapped out of it like from a dream, mechanically handed over the rose, and stammered the rehearsed line. Sophia, I like you. Sophia's face went even redder. She looked at me helplessly, her eyes full of questions. I gave her a reassuring look, then loudly egged them on. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. The students gathered around to watch also began shouting along. Say yes to him. Be together. Amid the thunderous cheering, Sophia's defenses completely collapsed. She lowered her head in embarrassment and took the bouquet from Lucas's hand. A response as thin as a mosquito's buzz. Done. Lucas was overjoyed and grabbed Sophia in a tight embrace. Warm applause and whistles erupted around them. And I, standing in the crowd, watching the two embracing, wore a smile on my face that was utterly sincere. But my blood surged with a cold exhilaration. On the other end of the line, Sophia's cry was clearly audible. What? A demerit? Don't worry, where are you? I'll come right away. Right here at the South Gate. Sob, sob. He's going to call my family. I kept using my trembling voice to perform, portraying the helplessness of a terrified college student to the fullest. Wait for me. I'll be right there. Sophia hung up the phone, her face full of anxiety. Lucas, still basking in the great joy of a successful confession, saw her like this and hurriedly asked, Sophia, what's wrong? It's Ethan. He was caught by the dean of students and is going to get a major demerit. I have to go check on him right away. Sophia said, turning to run. Lucas's smile froze on his face. What? Ethan was grabbed by the dean of students? This was the very first minute he and Sophia were officially together. He hadn't even warmed up holding her hand. I'll go with you. Lucas said immediately. Don't go. Your target is too big. If the dean sees you together with me, it'll be trouble. I'll go alone. You go back to the dorm and wait for my message. Sophia's tone brooked no argument. She knew the dean of students nicknamed Iron Lady all too well. If she saw Lucas with her, she might assume all three of them were returning late together, and that would make things even more problematic. After saying that, she shoved the bouquet of roses into Lucas's arms and ran toward the South Gate without looking back. She left Lucas standing there alone, holding the flowers, looking dumbfounded as the evening breeze blew and brought a chill. I hung up the phone, the smile at the corner of my mouth now impossible to suppress. Ha ha ha. Hell yeah. This is awesome. This feeling is even more satisfying than winning $5 million. I leisurely wandered over to the South Gate, found a bubble tea shop to sit in, ordered a full sugar mango pomelo sago, and while sipping it, watched Sophia pacing anxiously by the South Gate like a headless fly. She made several calls. I deliberately didn't pick up any of them, letting her writhe in anxiety. This is just the appetizer. In the previous life, Lucas used the same trick to call Sophia away from my birthday dinner on my birthday. The reason was, he got drunk and got into a fight with someone at the bar. Sophia did the same, abandoning me and the whole table of friends and rushing off without hesitation. Now it was Lucas's turn to taste what that felt like. Seeing Sophia about to burst into tears from anxiety, I guess the time was about right and leisurely picked up the phone. Ethan, where are you? I don't see the dean of students. Sophia's voice trembled with tears. I put on a groggy, just woken up tone. Huh? Sophia? What dean of students? You said you were arrested. Oh, that. I yawned. It's a misunderstanding. I was dozing by the roadside. The director thought something was wrong and came over to check, then let me go. I was so tired, I went back to the dorm to sleep. Silence on the other end of the line. A silence like death. I can even picture the expression on Sophia's face right now, transitioning from extreme nervousness to utter astonishment to complete speechlessness. After several seconds, she finally grit her teeth and asked, "You went back to the dorm?" "Yeah, I'm so tired. No more talking. I'm going to sleep first. Good night." After speaking, I promptly and decisively hung up the phone. Then I leaned back on the milk tea shop's sofa, laughing so hard my whole body shook. On the other side, Lucas sat restlessly in the dormitory. He kept checking his phone, then walking to the balcony to look downstairs, hoping to catch a glimpse of Sophia. This is their first day together. How commemorative. He had planned to walk Sophia back to the dorm, then chat with her on WhatsApp for a while, say good night to each other, and then clutch his phone, savoring her tenderness and fall asleep sweetly. But now it's all been ruined by that damn call from Ethan. He sent Sophia a WhatsApp message, and she didn't reply. Call busy. Time passed minute by minute, from 9 to 10, then to the 11 o'clock 8 lock. Sophia still hadn't returned. Lucas's heart sank bit by bit. A familiar emotion called unease began to spread in his heart. Finally, at 11:30, Sophia dragged her tired body back to the dormitory building. Lucas immediately rushed downstairs. "Sophia, you're back. How's Ethan? Is he okay?" He put on a concerned look. Sophia glanced at him, her face looking ill, and shook her head. "It's nothing, just a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Lucas was stunned. "Then why did you two take so long?" "His phone died. I searched for him for a long time." Sophia made up a casual excuse. She couldn't very well say she'd stood like an idiot at Southgate in the cold wind for 2 hours. Oh, that's good. Lucas sighed with relief, then tentatively reached out his hand, trying to take Sophia's hand. "So shall we?" Sophia instinctively took a step back and dodged. Her mind was in turmoil now, and she was very tired. She had no mood for romance at all. "I'm tired. I want to go upstairs to rest," she said softly. Lucas's outstretched hand awkwardly hung in midair. "All right, fine, then get some rest early. Good night." His heart sank to the bottom of the valley. "Good night." Sophia went upstairs without looking back. Lucas stood alone downstairs in the empty house, the bouquet of roses he had treasured all evening in his hand. Now the petals were beginning to wither. He suddenly felt that what should have been the most wonderful night of his life, somehow, wasn't as wonderful as he had imagined. And all of this was thanks to Ethan. He took out his phone, tapped my WhatsApp profile picture, and typed a message. After thinking it over, he felt the tone was too harsh and deleted it. After sending it, he waited a long time and didn't receive a reply, because I had already blocked him a long time ago. Besides, I was using a throwaway account to send Sophia a friend request. The request message was, "Hello, Senior Sophia. I'm Ethan's friend. He drank too much, his phone died and shut off, and he's asleep here with me now. Don't worry." The next morning, I walked into the classroom feeling refreshed. Lucas, with 2 huge dark circles under his eyes, rushed over the moment he saw me, his look full of barely contained accusation. "Ethan, where did you go last night? Why didn't you reply to my WhatsApp?" I blinked innocently. "Huh, last night? I drank too much. I don't remember. A roommate brought me back." "Drank too much." Lucas's voice unconsciously rose. "Didn't you get caught by the Dean of Students?" "Dean of Students?" I scratched my head, face full of confusion. "Really? How come I don't remember any of that? Did I drink myself into a dream?" My innocent act of, "Who am I and where am I?" made Lucas punch the pillow. He had a belly full of questions prepared, but at this moment, not a single word came out. Could it be that Ethan really drank too much and I remember it wrong? But Sophia clearly said. Just then, Sophia also walked into the classroom. She saw me. Her expression was a little complicated, but she still came over and asked softly, "Ethan, are you okay? You scared me to death last night." I immediately put on an expression of deep guilt and bowed to her repeatedly. "Sophia, I'm so sorry. I blacked out last night. My roommate said I might have called you. I really don't remember anything. I'm so sorry for causing you trouble." My attitude was extremely sincere, and my apology was perfectly by the book. Seeing me like that, The little resentment in Sophia's heart evaporated at once. She wasn't someone who held grudges to begin with. And besides, in her mind, Ethan had been drinking to drown his sorrows because he wanted to help her and Lucas, not for anything else. The thought made her guilt deepen. It's okay, you did it for her good, just don't drink so much in the future. It's bad for your health, she soothed softly. I promise. I nodded firmly, then shifted gears, looked at Lucas, and said with a grin, the main thing is my brother finally found someone. I'm so happy. Come on, bro. To celebrate you winning the beauty, lunch is on me today. 3rd floor of the cafeteria. Order whatever you want. I enthusiastically threw an arm around Lucas's shoulders, striking the pose of best brothers in the world. Lucas was completely thrown off by what I did. He felt like an unreasonable little man, while Ethan appeared to be a good guy who would sacrifice himself for a brother's happiness and drink until he blacked out. Sophia watched our display of brotherly affection and showed a pleased smile on her face. All right, stop messing around. Class is about to start. After that little maneuver, a potential trust crisis was quietly extinguished by me. The little doubt in Lucas's mind was also suppressed. But whenever he looked at me, he still felt that something was off. At lunch, I deliberately ordered a braised fish and solicitously picked a piece of the most tender meat from the fish's belly, placing it into Sophia's bowl. Sophia, eat more, nourish your brain. Aren't you preparing for a language proficiency test recently? Sophia smiled and said, thank you. Lucas's chopsticks paused. He remembered that Sophia did not eat fish because when she was a child, a fish bone got stuck in her throat and left her with a phobia. Sophia told him this herself while they were chatting. Ethan had known her for 3 years. Would he be unaware of this? He was about to speak up, but saw Sophia casually pick up that piece of fish, carefully remove the tiny bone buried within, then eat it. Lucas's pupils suddenly constricted. What's going on? Didn't she refuse to eat fish? I seemed not to notice the shock on his face and picked up another chopstick of green pepper stir-fried shredded pork. This is tasty too. The signature dish of our school cafeteria. Lucas's expression grew even uglier because Sophia also didn't eat green peppers. But the next second, Sophia naturally ate the green pepper, even smiling at me. It really does taste good. Lucas was completely stunned. He felt his understanding had been overturned. Could it be that Sophia forced herself to eat it just so she wouldn't embarrass Ethan? Yes, it must be that. Sophia is really too kind. Thinking this made him feel a little better, so he picked up a piece of sweet and sour pork he remembered Sophia loved most and put it into her bowl. Sophia, eat this. Aren't you the one who loves sweets the most? He said gently. Sophia looked at the bowl of sweet and sour pork, her brow barely furrowing. I let out a snort of laughter. Lucas and Sophia both looked toward me. I quickly waved my hand and said casually, sorry, I just remembered something. I recall Sophia used to like sweet things, but she had a checkup recently and the doctor said her blood sugar is a bit high, so she should cut down on sweets and fried food. People's tastes do change. After speaking, I looked at Lucas with sympathy. Lucas's face instantly flushed the color of cooked liver. He felt as if every sentence I said was a loud slap, striking his face hard. A burning, searing pain. Sophia's expression also looked a little awkward. She gave Lucas an embarrassed smile, then ate all the green peppers I'd passed to her, but didn't touch the sweet and sour pork at all. By the end of the meal, Lucas felt as if everything tasted like cardboard. He felt that as the official boyfriend, he seemed more like an outsider in front of Sophia and me. And I was the one who understood Sophia best. This feeling drove him insane. After dinner, I deliberately walked between the two of them, one arm draped over each of their shoulders. Come on, I'll walk you back to the dorm. Lucas tried to shrug my hand off, but he couldn't make a scene in front of Sophia, so he held back. When we got downstairs, I smiled at Sophia and said, Sophia, your language proficiency test review materials look a bit outdated. I have a brand new set here. Can I bring them to you tonight? Really? That's great. Thank you so much, Ethan. Sophia exclaimed. No need to thank me. We're best friends after all, I said with an implied meaning. After speaking, I gave Lucas a wink, then turned and walked away with flair. Lucas watched my retreating figure, his teeth nearly grinding to bits. Best friend again. Hearing those 5 words now gave him a headache. Sophia. He took a deep breath, trying to salvage the situation a little. Shall we go to a movie tonight? There's a new sci-fi blockbuster out. Sophia looked a bit embarrassed, but I already promised Ethan I'd pick up some review materials tonight, and I also want to go home early to memorize vocabulary. Lucas felt his heart sink again. Ethan, once more. It's Ethan again. He just won't go away. At 7 in the evening, holding a thick stack of review materials, I arrived punctually downstairs from Sophia's dormitory. Sophia, I brought the materials for you. Wow, so many. Thank you so much, Ethan. Sophia looked at the materials in my arms, her eyes shining. You're welcome, I smiled, then casually said, by the way, there are a few listening exercises in here that are pretty tough. How about we find a place and I practice with you? Sophia's eyes lit up. Sure. Where shall we go? Let's go to the library's electronic reading room. They have the equipment and it's quiet. MHM. The two of us were instantly in agreement and turned to head toward the library. Completely ignoring Lucas a short distance away, holding 2 movie tickets and anxiously waiting. I could feel his resentful gaze, almost burning a hole through my back. Nice. Every cell in my blood was shouting awesome. In my last life, that's exactly what he did. Under the guise of helping with homework, he kept taking Sophia away from me again and again. I remember once we had both bought movie tickets, popcorn and cola in hand, just waiting for the show to start. He called and said he had an important professional question he wanted to consult Sophia about. Sophia said nothing, dropped me, and ran off. Leaving me alone, I watched the entire romance movie in the dark theater. I still vividly remember that humiliation and anger. Now it's your turn, Lucas. Sophia and I walked side by side on the way to the library, the evening breeze gently brushing us, the mood just right. Ethan, you're so wonderful. Sophia sighed sincerely. You've done so much for Lucas and me. A cold laugh rose in my chest, but on my face I wore the bold expression of someone ready to risk himself for a friend. Don't say that like it's something formal. We're the iron triangle. If you and Lucas are happy, I'm happier than anyone. If he ever dares to bully you, tell me. I'll be the first to help you beat him up. Sophia laughed at my teasing, and the emotion in her eyes grew deeper. When we got to the electronic reading room, the two of us found a corner by the window to sit. Each of us had a pair of headphones. I was in charge of playing the listening exercises, and she was in charge of doing the questions. During the break, Sophia's phone rang. It was Lucas calling. She glanced at it, hesitated for a moment, and hung up. Then she sent me a WhatsApp message. A stream of messages popped up. Sophia frowned and replied. Soon, Lucas called again. Sophia hung up once more and put her phone on silent. She glanced up at me and said apologetically, Sorry, it's a bit noisy. I smiled understandingly. It's fine. He's your boyfriend, so it's normal for him to be clingy. I'm nothing like that. I'm all alone and can only numb myself with studying. I pretended to be forlorn and sighed. A wave of guilt instantly overwhelmed Sophia. She thought Ethan must be upset because she was with Lucas, and that's why he was studying so hard. Yet Lucas was still sulking with her over something as trivial as a movie. The contrast made the difference obvious. Don't say that. You're so wonderful. You'll definitely find a girl who's 100 times better than me, she said earnestly to comfort me. I hope so. I lowered my head. There was a faint, barely noticeable bitterness in my voice. At that moment, Sophia's heart completely softened. Her gaze at me was full of pity and affection. For the next hour, she focused all her attention on studying. Even when her phone rang again, she didn't bother to look. Meanwhile, Lucas at the cinema entrance was about to explode with anger. He clenched the 2 now invalid movie tickets in his hand, veins bulging on the back of his hand. Ethan again, studying again. God damn it, what a bullshit excuse. He stormed angrily to the library and, outside the electronic reading room window, saw Sophia and me. The two of them sat with their heads touching, very close together, quietly discussing something about the question on the computer screen. From his perspective, our posture looked intimate like that of a real couple. And the focused, gentle smile on Sophia's face was one he'd never seen before. A nameless rage shot from the soles of Lucas's feet straight up to the crown of his head. He felt a fresh green blanket over his head, like the vast Hulumber grassland. He took out his phone, aimed it at the window, snapped a photo with a click, then angrily sent it to Sophia. A string of exclamation marks showed how furious he was at that moment. Sophia's phone lit up. When she picked it up and looked, her expression changed instantly. She looked up and saw the face outside the window twisted with anger. I followed her gaze, delighted inside, but put on a surprised expression. Huh, it's Lucas. What's he doing here? I stood up and waved cheerfully toward the window. Bro, why are you just getting here? Come on in and study with us. The three of us improving together is faster. When I called him brother, my voice was full and forceful. Lucas's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He looked at my harmless, smiling face and felt like he'd punched the air, so frustrated he was about to burst from the inside. He wanted to rush in, grab my collar, and demand what on earth I was trying to do. But he couldn't, because everything I did was reasonable and justified. I was helping Sophia study. I was thinking about the future for both of them. If he stormed in and made a scene now, it would only make him look unreasonable, petty, and unwilling to move forward. Lucas clenched his fists so hard his nails dug into his palms. He looked at the two people inside living that peaceful life, and at the dazzling smile on my face, and for the first time he felt a twinge of doubt about his earlier decision to confess first. Who the hell is winging for whom? The commotion in the library finally ended with Lucas's retreat. He stood outside the window with a sullen face for a full 10 minutes before finally not daring to rush in. Sophia went out and explained a few things to him. When she came back, the rims of her eyes were a little red. I could tell at a glance. They had argued. I was over the moon inside, but I asked with feigned concern, "What's wrong? Did you have a fight with Lucas?" Sophia lowered her head, her voice muffled. He thinks I shouldn't be alone with you in the library so late. Hey, what's the big deal? I waved my hand magnanimously. It's normal for a guy to get jealous. It means he cares about you. Don't take it to heart. I'll explain things to him later. The more I acted so understanding, the more Sophia's internal balance tipped in my favor. She thought Lucas was really stingy. Compared to me, who understood principles and always considered their feelings, he was simply an undergrown child. No, it's fine, she shook her head. It's my own problem. I'll talk it over with him. I nodded, then considerately said, how about we stop here for today? Go home early and have a good talk with him. Don't let me affect your relationship. Sophia packed up, smiled at me gratefully. Ethan, thank you so much for today. Don't be formal, go back quickly. I waved my hand at her. Watching her walk away, the smile on my face slowly turned cold. Communicate? In my last life, I also naively believed that communication could solve everything. And the result? Every conversation ended with my compromise. Every argument ended with Sophia's line. Why can't you just try to understand Lucas? Screw understanding. In this life, I'm going to make Lucas taste what it's like to be speechless and what it's like to have no way to voice your suffering. I took out my phone and opened a newly created WhatsApp group. The group was called Study Support Triad, and it contained only the three of us. I had created it this afternoon specifically to facilitate communication about study issues. I posted a document I had compiled of core vocabulary for the language proficiency test to the group. Sophia replied instantly. After a long while, Lucas reluctantly sent a short message. I smiled and kept typing. After I finished sending, I purposely mentioned Lucas. Lucas on the other end of the screen almost crushed his phone when he saw the message. Lover's Slope, 6:30. Morning reading my ass? Is this bastard a demon? Lover's Slope is the school's most famous dating spot for couples. Neither he nor Sophia has ever been there. That bastard Ethan actually asked her to go there for a morning reading, and he asked if he wanted to go together. If he said he wouldn't go, it would make him look like he didn't support his girlfriend's studies. If he said he'd go, he'd have to get up at 6, acting like a multi-kilowatt light bulb, watching the two of them discussing literature and the classics. This fucking was a death sentence. Lucas held it in for a long time, and in the end he humiliatingly typed 2 characters. When he saw Sophia and I, Lucas's blood pressure shot up. "You still know how to feel awkward, you bastard?" He typed angrily. Before the message was sent, Sophia's message popped up first. Lucas froze as he looked at the accusatory message Sophia had sent. He felt a chill rise from his feet and spread through his entire body in an instant. It was only the second day. Only the second day. Sophia had already begun to blame him for Ethan. He panicked. An unprecedented sense of dread seized him. He hurriedly deleted the sentence he had just written and edited it again. "I exercised a lot tonight." Those few words stabbed into Lucas's eyes like needles. He hadn't even touched Sophia last night. Exercise my ass. That bastard Ethan was deliberately taking a jab at him. Of course that dumb, pure Sophia still didn't see it and thought I was concerned about her. Lucas stared at the phone screen, trembling with rage, his insides feeling as if doused with ice water. He had a strong premonition. If he really didn't go tomorrow, then between him and Sophia, it might really be over. No. He gritted his teeth and typed 3 characters. I put down my phone and laughed, rolling on the bed. Ha ha. Lucas. Oh, Lucas. The game has only just begun. The next morning at 6:20, I appeared at Lover's Slope yawning. From afar I could see Sophia in a tracksuit with her hair in a ponytail, radiant with youth as she stood there. Beside her, Lucas had dark circles under his eyes, his face ashen, yawning nonstop, looking like an eggplant hit by frost. "Morning," I greeted energetically. "Morning," Sophia replied with a smile. Lucas squeezed out a through his nostrils. I took 2 sandwiches and 2 cartons of milk from my bag and handed them to them. "Here, I brought you breakfast." One was handed to Sophia, and one was handed to Lucas. The one for Sophia was her favorite chicken cutlet flavor. The one for Lucas was his least favorite fish flavor. Sophia took it with delight. "Wow, Ethan, you're so thoughtful." Lucas looked at the fish sandwich in his hand. His face went pale, a fishy smell hitting him straight in the head, making his stomach, already protesting from lack of sleep, begin to churn. "What's wrong, bro? Not to your taste?" I asked, knowing the answer. No. Lucas gritted his teeth and forced a smile more miserable than crying. In front of Sophia, he didn't dare say he wouldn't eat, so he forced himself, stuffing the sandwich into his mouth like taking medicine. I looked at his constipated expression and was secretly delighted. Morning reading began. I sat side by side with Sophia, holding a book and reading aloud. Lucas sat alone beside us like a lonely ghost, holding a book but unable to keep his eyes open, his head nodding, ready to drop asleep at any moment. As Sophia read, a strand of hair was blown out of place and stuck to the corner of her mouth. She was about to reach up to brush it away, but I moved first. I reached out completely naturally and tucked that stray lock behind her ear. My fingertip accidentally brushed her earlobe, warm and soft. Sophia's body stiffened instantly. Her cheeks flushed in a flash, and her heart skipped a beat. She glanced at me instinctively and saw I was focused on my book, as if my earlier movement had been merely unconscious. Ahem. She cleared her throat awkwardly and kept her head down over the book, though her heart was in turmoil. And this scene was taken in by Lucas, who was forcing his eyelids open right beside him. His eyes immediately went red. A flash of rage surged up. Ethan, he actually dared to touch Sophia's ear. That was a sensitive area he had never even touched before. Ethan, what are you doing? Lucas jumped up, pointing at me and shouting. Both Sophia and I were startled by his sudden outburst. I looked up baffled. What's wrong, bro? Do what? You just touched her. Lucas's lips trembled with anger. Touched her. I was even more puzzled. I turned to Sophia and asked, Did I touch you? Sophia's face flushed even deeper. She glanced at the furious Lucas, then at my innocent expression, and hurried to explain. "You just helped fix my hair. Don't make such a fuss." "Hair?" Lucas sneered. "Do you need to touch someone's ear to mess with their hair?" The moment he said that, Sophia's expression changed too. "Lucas, what are you talking about?" "Ethan was just being careless." She stood up, both embarrassed and angry. "How can you think of someone in such a dirty way?" Dirty? Lucas felt like he was about to explode with rage. "He was practically pressing his face against yours. And you still call it an accident? Sophia, are you really stupid or just pretending to be?" "You." Sophia's eyes were rimmed with red from his shouting. "You are simply unreasonable." Seeing they were about to get into a full-blown fight, I quickly stepped in to smooth things over. I grabbed Lucas and said apologetically, Bro, don't be angry. It's my fault. I was too engrossed in my book earlier. I really didn't mean it. I swear." Then I turned to Sophia and said, "Sophia, don't be mad either. Lucas just cares about you too much, so don't blame him." I played peacemaker, mediating between them. But to Lucas my words sounded full of boasting and mockery. "What do you mean by too absorbed in reading? You fucking like my girl, didn't you?" He yanked his hand away from mine, pointed at my nose, and said each word deliberately. "Ethan, I'm warning you. Stay away from Sophia." The atmosphere instantly dropped to freezing. Sophia looked at Lucas in disbelief. She hadn't expected him to say something so harsh to their mutual friend right in front of her. The smile on my face vanished too, replaced by a look of hurt and incredulity. "Lucas, how could you say that?" I said, my voice trembling. "Aren't we best brothers? I was just trying to help Sophia study. What did I do wrong?" "You're not wrong. I'm the one who's wrong," Sophia suddenly said, and the tears in her eyes could no longer be held back, spilling out. "I was wrong to put you in such a difficult position. I was wrong to accept your confession." She finished speaking through her tears, then turned and ran away. Only Lucas and I were left. Lucas stared dumbfounded at Sophia's departing back. He only wanted to warn Ethan. How did it end up like this? I walked over to him, let out a heavy sigh, and patted his shoulder. "Brother, this time you spoke way too harshly." I said in a tone of "I understand you, but I don't agree. Sophia is a good girl. By not trusting her like this, you hurt her so much. And how can you doubt me? We've grown up as brothers who share the same pants." Each of my words was like a knife, stabbing into Lucas's heart. He looked at my sincere face, opened his mouth, but couldn't utter a single word. What could he say? Say that my earlier action was deliberate? But I did it flawlessly. Even Sophia thought I had done it by accident. Saying I have ulterior motives? But everything I did was done under the banner of for their own good. He was like someone caught in an invisible net. The more he struggled, the tighter it wrapped around him. I sighed again, took a bottle of water from my bag, twisted off the cap and handed it to him. "Calm down. Go apologize to Sophia, quickly. Girls need to be comforted." Lucas looked at the water I handed him, then at my face that looked more wrong than dough-y, and felt a rush of blood surge in his chest. PFF. He spat out a mouthful of old blood. Lucas was vomiting blood. Right in front of me, he spectacularly spewed a jet of blood. Then his eyes rolled back and he fell down stiff. I was completely stunned. Holy crap. I only meant to gross him out. I didn't intend to kill him. Does this guy have such a weak constitution? I quickly pulled out my phone and, in a flurry, dialed emergency services. Then I called Sophia. This time, my voice was full of genuine alarm and fear. "Sophia, it's bad. Come quickly. Lucas, he's coughing up blood and passed out." In the hospital, a sharp smell of disinfectant hung in the air. Lucas lay on the hospital bed, hooked to and fore, his face as pale as paper. The doctor said it was acute stress on the heart, combined with severe sleep deprivation, which led to acute gastric mucosal lesions and caused the vomiting of blood. Nothing too serious, just needed to rest quietly. Sophia sat by the bedside, her eyes red and swollen, clearly having cried. She looked at the unconscious Lucas, her face filled with self-reproach and guilt. As for me, I stood in the corner like a child who had done something wrong, head bowed, saying nothing. The atmosphere was oppressively heavy. After a long time, Sophia finally spoke in a hoarse voice. "Ethan, I'm sorry. This morning, it was Lucas who acted too impulsively. I apologize to you on his behalf." I jerked my head up, my eyes brimming with tears, my voice choked. "No, it's not his fault. It's all my fault. If I hadn't insisted on making you all do morning reading, this wouldn't have happened. If I hadn't been clumsy and bumped into you, Lucas wouldn't have misunderstood. It's all my fault. I ruined him." The more I spoke, the more excited I became, and I raised my hand and slapped my own face. A sharp, crisp smack rang out. Sophia was stunned and hurried over to grab my hand. "Ethan, what are you doing? This has nothing to do with you. How is this not my fault?" I shouted, "You're my best friends. Now, because of me, one is lying in a hospital bed, and one is here heartbroken. What kind of friend am I? I'm nothing but a jinx." My acting, at that moment, reached its peak. Regret, self-blame, pain. A tangle of emotions crossed my face, forming an intensely affecting mask of sorrow. Sophia was completely moved by me. She grabbed my hand, and tears began to fall as well. "No, you're not. You're the best friend Lucas and I have. You've done so much for us. We've seen it all. What happened today was an accident. Nobody wanted this." The more she tried to comfort me, the harder I cried. "No, it's my fault. Sophia, please leave me alone for a while. I want to be quiet." I tore my hand away from hers and walked out of the ward in a daze. Hiding at the corner of the corridor, I leaned against the cold wall and slowly slid down to the floor. Then I couldn't hold it in any longer and burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Hell yeah, that slap was worth every bit." Not only did it absolve me of all responsibility, it also painted me in Sophia's mind as a noble, righteous person who would rather hurt himself for the sake of a friend. "Lucas, what have you got to compete with me? What you bought with your blood was Sophia's guilt. And what I bought with one slap was her concern." In a hospital room, Sophia looked at the unconscious Lucas and recalled the pained, remorseful expression I'd just shown. Her mind was in complete turmoil. She felt that she owed both of us, especially Ethan. He clearly hadn't done anything wrong, yet he took all the blame upon himself. How heartbroken he must have been. Just then, Lucas's eyelids twitched, and he slowly opened his eyes. "Water," he called weakly. "You're awake," Sophia exclaimed with surprise and joy. She quickly poured a glass of water, helped him up, and carefully fed it to him. Lucas drank the water and felt his throat ease. He looked around, saw the familiar hospital room, and asked hoarsely, "How did I end up here? Did you forget? You vomited blood and passed out this morning," Sophia said, distressed. Lucas's memories slowly returned. He remembered Lover's Slope, remembered Ethan's hateful smiling face, and remembered Sophia defending him. Rage surged up uncontrollably once more. "Where's Ethan?" he ground out through his teeth. He just left. How dare he stay here?" Lucas grew agitated. "Sophia, don't be fooled by him. He did it on purpose. Everything he did was to break us up." Sophia's expression darkened. She hadn't expected that the first thing Lucas would do upon waking was not to worry about his own health, but to keep blaming Ethan. "Lucas, enough," she said coldly. "Ethan just slapped himself for you. He blamed himself for everything. What more do you want? Do you have to drive him to death to be satisfied?" Lucas was stunned. Ethan slapped himself? For me? He wanted to tell the truth to Sophia, but he knew that now whatever he said, Sophia wouldn't believe him. The moment he coughed up blood and passed out, he had already lost. He had lost all standing and all right to speak. "Sophia, listen to my explanation." He tried to grab her hand. Sophia dodged him. She stood up, disappointment written all over her face. "Get some rest. I don't want to argue with you." Having said that, she turned and walked out of the ward. She was going to see Ethan. She wasn't comfortable leaving him alone. Lucas lay on the hospital bed, staring at the empty doorway, his heart aching in waves. He knew Sophia's heart was drifting farther and farther away from him. And all of this was thanks to Ethan. A bone-deep chill and endless remorse completely consumed him. If he hadn't rushed to confess back then, would the one lying here coughing up blood be Ethan now? And would the one by Sophia's side be him? Sophia found me in the hospital garden. I was sitting on a bench, head down, shoulders slightly trembling, looking like a little dog abandoned by the whole world. "Ethan," she called softly. I panicked and looked up, quickly wiped my eyes, forcing out a smile uglier than crying. "Sophia, what are you doing here? Is Lucas awake?" Sophia looked at the clear red finger marks on my face and felt a pang in her heart. "He's awake, he's okay." She sat down beside me and handed me a tissue. "Don't overthink it, it's not your fault." I took the tissue but didn't wipe my face. Instead, I covered my eyes, my voice hoarse. "How is it not my fault? If I had been more magnanimous, if I had kept my distance from you, Lucas wouldn't have become like this. Sophia, maybe we should keep some distance from now on." I looked up and stared at her with those tear-filled eyes. "I don't want my being here to make you fight again. I'm already really happy that you two can be together, truly." My words of retreat to advance hit Sophia's heart like a heavy hammer. She completely broke down. "No." She grabbed my arm excitedly. "Ethan, you can't think like that. We're best friends. Why should a misunderstanding from someone else cause us to drift apart? The one who should be reflecting isn't you. It's Lucas. He's too selfish, too extreme. He doesn't consider your feelings at all. I'm so disappointed in him." "Fish, you've bitten the bait." I sneered inwardly, but my face wore an expression of shocked and worried. "Sophia, don't say that about Lucas. He just cares about you too much. You mustn't grow apart from him because of me, or I'll feel guilty for the rest of my life." The more I spoke up for Lucas, the more Sophia thought Lucas was a jerk. "Don't worry about him," she cut me off, her tone resolute. "Ethan, listen, we're friends. Always will be. No one can change that. In the future, if you want tutoring from me, or want to chat, anytime, I won't consider his feelings anymore." This was exactly the result I wanted. At the cost of spitting blood, Lucas not only failed to drive a wedge between Sophia and me, he actually made her completely stand by my side. She even gave me an official permission to pester her anytime. Ha ha ha. "Lucas, oh Lucas, don't you feel like your lungs are about to burst from anger right now?" Over the next few days, Lucas was resting in the hospital. As for me, I was paired off with Sophia. We went to the cafeteria together, studied together in the library, and walked together on the sports field. I played the role of the innocent male best friend to perfection. I will remember her menstrual period and prepare brown sugar water and heating pads for her in advance. When she can't solve a problem, I will patiently explain it to her until she understands. When she's unhappy, I'll tell jokes to make her laugh and take her to eat her favorite cake. Everything I do will be considerate, just right, and perfectly hit her heart. And all of these were things I wanted to do for her in my previous life, but Lucas kept thwarting me again and again, so I never managed to. At the same time, I didn't forget to send warm regards to Lucas at his bedside every day. I would take photos of Sophia and me eating together and send them to him. I would record videos of Sophia laughing heartily and send them to him. I would even call Lucas late at night. "Bro, are you asleep?" "Sophia, and I just came out of the library. The moon is so full tonight, too bad you can't see it." On the other end of the line, Lucas was left so angry he couldn't speak. All I could hear was his heavy breathing. The doctors said he needed a rest, but under my day-after-day psychological attacks, his condition not only failed to improve, but actually seemed to worsen. Finally, a week later, Lucas was discharged against medical advice. He had lost weight, his eye sockets were hollowed, and he looked sullen and like a walking corpse. The first thing he did after being discharged was come to find me. He blocked my way downstairs from the dormitory. "Ethan, we need to talk." His voice was hoarse, his gaze like a poisoned blade. I smiled. "Fine, about what?" He grabbed my collar, pinned me against the wall, and snarled through gritted teeth, "What exactly are you trying to do?" I let him hold me, my face showing not the slightest panic, but rather a playful smile. "Bro, what are you doing? If you have something to say, Say it properly. Don't you fucking call me bro. Lucas completely snapped. His eyes were bloodshot, like a beast driven to desperation. I'm asking you, did you do this on purpose? You did all this to get revenge on me, didn't you? I looked at his face twisted by anger, and a perverse pleasure rose in my chest. He finally realized. Too bad, it was too late. The smile on my face slowly faded, and my gaze grew cold. I didn't answer his question. Instead, I leaned close to his ear and, in a voice only the two of us could hear, whispered a line. In my last life, how did it feel to watch an entire romance movie alone in the theater? Lucas's body jolted violently. He widened his eyes in disbelief, his pupils constricting sharply, as if he had seen a ghost. He pointed at me, his lips trembling, unable to say a single word. How did he know about this? Only he, Sophia, and Ethan from the previous life knew about this matter. An absurd and terrifying thought exploded in his mind. That's right, I said, looking at his horrified expression and smiling cruelly. I'm back too. My words struck Lucas's mind like a thunderclap from the heavens. His mind went blank in an instant. The blood drained from his face, leaving it as pale as paper. No, impossible. He muttered dazedly, his hand that had gripped my collar limp as he let go. This can't be. Why can't it? I sneered, stepping closer to him. If you can come back with your memories, why can't I? Lucas, do you think that by taking the lead you can possess everything? Do you think that by stepping on me, you can justifiably enjoy the fruits of victory? I'm telling you, you're wrong. My voice wasn't loud, but each word fell like a hammer, striking his heart hard. In the last life, you made me endure all the pain and humiliation. In this life, I will make you pay it back double. Lucas was forced by me to take several steps back and finally staggered, falling heavily to the ground. He looked at me, his eyes filled with fear and despair. He finally understood. From the very beginning, he had fallen into the trap I had meticulously laid. My concession, my blessing, my male best friend act, all of it was one huge trap. I never intended to make things easier for them. I was going to destroy him. Devil, you are a devil, he said, trembling. Devil. I laughed, laughing with biting irony. Compared to what you did to me in my last life, what I did is nothing. You took advantage of Sophia's kindness and guilt, clinging to her like a leech, using the banner of friend to carry out all manner of ruin. You destroyed my love, ruined my life, and in the end watched me be killed by a car without lifting a finger. Lucas, who is the real devil? My final sentence was almost shouted. The grievances accumulated over 2 lifetimes exploded all at once in that moment. Lucas trembled at my shout and could not utter another word. Yes, compared to what he had done, what Ethan is doing now amounts to nothing. Karma really does exist. What do you want to do? He slumped to the floor, his face ashen, completely giving up any resistance. What do I want? I looked down at him from above, my gaze so cold it had no warmth. I don't want anything. I just want you to taste what it's like to watch the one you love drift further and further away, helpless to stop it. The feeling of being betrayed by everyone, abandoned by the entire world. The kind of regret so deep you wish you could die. After saying that, I stopped looking at him and turned to leave. At the moment I turned, a familiar figure appeared not far away. It was Sophia. She was carrying a thermos bucket, obviously came to bring soup to Lucas. She saw Lucas sitting on the ground, dazed and distraught, and she also saw my cold silhouette. Her expression was full of confusion and worry. Ethan? Lucas? What's wrong with you? She hurried over. I didn't stop walking, nor did I even look back. And Lucas, the moment he saw Sophia, seemed to grab at the last straw. He jerked up from the ground, rushed to Sophia, grabbed her shoulders, and babbled loudly. Sophia. It's him. He set this all up. He's also been reborn. He's come back to get revenge on me. Sophia was startled by his manic demeanor. Lucas, what are you saying? Reborn? Are you still sick and talking nonsense? I'm not talking nonsense. I'm telling the truth. Lucas desperately tried to make her believe him. Ethan, He remembers the last life. Everything he did was to split us apart. Sophia frowned. She looked at Lucas, who seemed possessed, and what showed in her eyes was not belief but deep disappointment and a trace of fear. She tore her hand free from Lucas's grip and took 2 steps back. "Lucas, you have disappointed me so much." Her voice was as cold as ice. "You did something wrong and showed no remorse. And now you've even invented such an absurd reason to slander Ethan." "Reborn? Do you think this is a novel? You aren't sick, you're crazy." Sophia's words, like the sharpest knife, completely severed the last thread of hope Lucas had. He was desolate. He knew whatever he said, Sophia would never believe him. In Sophia's eyes, he had already become a madman babbling nonsense to shirk responsibility. And all of this was part of Ethan's plan. He lost. She was utterly defeated, battered, and broken. He turned his head, staring fixedly at me a short distance away, who had stopped and was watching this farce with keen interest. His gaze was filled with boundless venom and the madness of taking us both down. "Ethan, I'll kill you," he roared, like a mad bull, charging at me wildly. Facing Lucas's frenzied assault, I didn't dodge. I didn't even blink, because I knew someone would take the blow for me. Sure enough, the instant before Lucas's fist was about to hit my face, a figure stepped in front of me. It was Sophia. "Lucas, stop!" She spread her arms, shielding me with all her might, her face full of terror and fury. Lucas's fist halted abruptly in midair, less than a centimeter from Sophia's face. His hand was trembling, his eyes bloodshot. "Move," he snarled. "I won't." Sophia burst into tears. "If you so much as touch Ethan, I'll disown you." The 4 characters cutting off affection and ties were like 4 sharp knives, fiercely stabbing into Lucas's heart. He looked at Sophia in disbelief. To protect Ethan, she was actually going to sever all ties with him? He was her boyfriend. Why should that be? Why should I? A huge sense of absurdity and the fury of betrayal completely swallowed his reason. "Good, good, good." He repeated "good" 3 times, a bleak, mad smile appearing on his face. "Sophia, you forced me into this." He suddenly withdrew his fist, then, with lightning speed, took something out of his pocket. It was a folding knife. The silver blade flashed a menacing cold light in the sunlight. "Ah!" A few of the girls nearby let out screams. Sophia's face instantly went deathly pale. "Lucas, what are you doing?" "Put the knife down," she said, her voice trembling. "What are you doing?" Lucas sneered, stepping closer. "If I can't be happy, none of you will. Today, I'm taking this piece of scum to hell with me." Saying that, he raised the knife and lunged at me. "Ethan, watch out!" Sophia screamed, and without thinking, she spun around and threw her arms around me, using her back to shield me from the sharp blade. My pupils constricted. This was something I hadn't expected. I thought at most she would push me away or continue to stop Lucas. I didn't expect she would use her own body to take the blade from me. In a flash, I reacted. I suddenly turned on my heel, spun around with Sophia in my arms, and shielded her against my chest. At the same time, I lifted my leg and kicked Lucas's wrist. Clang! The folding knife clattered to the ground. Lucas was driven back by the force of my kick, stumbling backward and landing hard on his butt. Everything happened in an instant. By the time the people around reacted, the danger had already been averted. I held Sophia, trembling in my arms, feeling her rapid heartbeat, but my gaze passed over her shoulder and stared coldly at Lucas on the ground. "It's over. Lucas, you're finished." Soon, the school's security guards and administrators all arrived. Stabbing someone in public is an extremely heinous act. Lucas was restrained by the security guards on the spot and taken to the security office. Awaiting him were legal sanctions and the school's harshest disciplinary measures. It took him less than 2 weeks to go from heaven to hell. As for me, I became the calm, self-sacrificing hero who saved the beauty in this incident. I held the frightened Sophia and comforted her softly. "It's okay. Don't be afraid. I'm here." Sophia, in my arms, looked up at me with tear-filled eyes. There was fear, dependence, and a feeling I knew all too well in her eyes. That was a signal of falling for someone. I snorted coldly to myself. I steadied her, put distance between us, and said in a voice full of both fright and relief, "Good thing you're okay. Otherwise, I would never forgive myself in this life." My distancing left Sophia momentarily stunned. She looked at me, opened her mouth as if to say something, but in the end, she didn't speak. This farce ended with Lucas being taken away by the police. He was expelled from school and, for attempted intentional injury, sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. A once favored son of heaven had thus fallen, and his name became a taboo and a laughingstock on the lips of all the teachers and students. After Lucas's matter was resolved, campus life returned to calm, but the atmosphere between Sophia and me grew somewhat delicate. She began to approach me, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. She would bring me breakfast, proactively ask to study together, and when I played basketball, she'd act like a little fangirl on the sidelines, bringing me water. Everything she did closely resembled how she had pursued me back then. The classmates around us noticed too and started teasing, saying we were a perfect match. Despite all this, I always kept a friend distance. She brings me breakfast, and I make sure to return the favor the next day. She invites me to study together, and I sometimes decline, saying I have something to do. She brings me water, and I politely thank her, then share it with the other players. I don't make the first move, I don't refuse, and I don't take responsibility. I took the essence of being a male best friend and pushed it to the extreme. I enjoyed her kindness toward me, enjoyed the bright, sparkling look in her eyes when she looked at me, enjoyed the anxious, uncertain expression she wore because of my hot and cold attitude. This feeling made me immensely pleased. I was going to string her along. Let her be able to see it, but not touch it. Let her taste the flavor of wanting, but not getting. That night, the language proficiency test results came out. Sophia passed with high marks. She was ecstatic and called me at once, saying she wanted to treat me to a meal to thank me for my tutoring during this time. I agreed. In a romantic Western restaurant near the school, candlelight flickered. Sophia wore a beautiful dress and light makeup, looking breathtaking. "Ethan, this drink is to you," she raised her wine glass. "Without you, I definitely couldn't have made it. Thank you so much." "You're welcome. It was mainly your own hard work." I clinked my glass with hers. After a few drinks, Sophia's cheeks flushed and her eyes grew hazy. She looked at me, finally mustering the courage to speak the words I had waited for so long. "Ethan, can we go back to the way things were?" she asked cautiously, her eyes full of hope and unease. "I know, it was my fault before. I didn't see Lucas's true colors and I hurt you. But now I understand that you are the one who is best for me. Would you be willing to give me another chance?" Here we go. Finally, he's here. I looked at her tear-streaked, delicate face without a ripple of feeling, and even found it somewhat amusing. Back to the way things were. Why should that be? I put down my wine glass, leaned forward slightly, looked in her eyes, and asked word by word. "Sophia, isn't things like this between us fine now?" Sophia froze. "We're best friends, aren't we?" I continued, wearing a gentle yet cruel smile. Those 5 words, best friends, were like a needle driving deep into Sophia's heart. The color drained from her face in an instant. She had said this to me countless times before. Each time was like a knife, slowly killing my hope. Now, I return it to her exactly as it was. "But I like you," she said, her voice breaking. "Oh," I raised an eyebrow, feigning surprise. "You like me? But I've always treated you as a friend. Ethan, don't be like this." She reached out, trying to take my hand, but I pulled mine back first. I stood up, looking down at her from above. The smile on my face vanished completely, replaced by endless coldness and indifference. "Sophia, do you think that if you turn back, I'll be standing here waiting for you? Do you think the whole world should revolve around you? When you chose Lucas back then, enjoying the vanity and guilt he gave you, did you ever think about how I felt? So you finally see him clearly, and now you want to come back to me? This backup? Why should I? Every word I said was like a sharp ice pick, cruelly chipping away at her heart. She was left speechless by my question, only able to keep crying and shaking her head. No, it's not. I didn't. Not. I sneered. Put away those cheap tears of yours. In my last life, I already shed all my tears for you. In this life, I don't want to see a single drop. Having said that, I pulled a few bills from my pocket and slapped them onto the table. I'll pay for this meal. Consider it. The breakup dinner for our pure friendship. Then I turned and walked away without looking back, leaving Sophia alone, slumped in her chair, crying her heart out in the flickering candlelight. I stepped out of the restaurant. The cold wind hit me, and I felt completely sobered up. The resentment accumulated over 2 lifetimes was completely unleashed in that moment. I didn't turn back to look at Sophia, nor did I feel the slightest softness or pity. Some people, once missed, are simply missed. Some harms, once done, can never be mended. I took out my phone and blocked all of Sophia's contact methods. From then on, we were strangers. A month later, I saw a notice on the school's bulletin board that Sophia had applied for an exchange program abroad. Rumor had it she completed all the paperwork as quickly as possible, as if she were fleeing from something. Half a year later, Lucas was released from prison. I once saw him at the school gate by chance. He'd changed completely. His eyes were dull, he was taciturn, and all the earlier swagger was gone. When he saw me, he just lowered his head and hurried past me, as if avoiding the plague. His future was completely ruined, and I began my new life. I received the national scholarship, joined the student council, and represented the school in the National College Debate Tournament, where I won the championship. A new girl also appeared by my side. Her name was Chloe Chun, a teammate on the debate team, a girl who loved to smile, sunny, and clever. She would argue with me until our faces flushed over a single point, and she would quietly hand me a bottle of water when I was tired. Being with her was easy, comfortable. That day, our debate team celebrated a victory. Afterwards, Chloe walked me back to the dorm. Downstairs, she suddenly grabbed my hand. "Ethan," she looked at me, her eyes sparkling under the streetlight. "I like you. Let's be together." I looked at her sincere face and smiled. I didn't answer immediately, but asked her in return, "If one day my best friend confessed to you too, what would you do?" Chloe paused, then thought seriously and said, "I'd definitely reject him." "Why?" "Because the one I love is you," she said matter-of-factly. "And if he really is your best brother, he shouldn't put you in a difficult position in front of me. A true friend thinks about the other person, not just himself." I listened and said nothing for a long time. Then I reached out and pulled her into my arms. "All right, let's be together. True love is respect, boundaries, and exclusivity, not the wanton hurting done under the banner of friends." I spent half my life suffering to learn that truth in my last life. In this life, Sophia may need to spend a whole lifetime understanding it. What does it have to do with me? In the distance, the leaves of the phoenix trees had turned yellow and fell one by one. A new life was only just beginning.